We've taken a look at Hawley and Rothsay in Minnesota District 23A basketball. This week we take a look at the Dilworth Locomotives. Kip Vossler is our head coach. Kip, Merry Christmas and thanks for joining us. Off to a dandy start this year. There's got to be a lot of excitement around your program.
You bet. There's all kinds of excitement. Going into Christmas 4-0, I think it's been a few years since Dilworth's been in this position.
What were your expectations coming in when you took a look at your team? Did it put a big smile on your face coming into this year?
You bet. I was itching the day we finished last year. I knew it was going to be a good team, and we knew we had to put in a lot of work in the off-season. We knew exactly what our strengths and weaknesses were, and I think we've covered most of it. We're doing real well.
A lot of people are talking about your big people inside, Kurt Mitchener and Joe Belka. Those two guys are very formidable players. They causing people a lot of problems?
You bet they are. You know, the thing I look at there is, you know, that was no secret. We knew we were going to be big inside.
Sure.
The people around them, we have, you know, 6 other people we're playing a lot right now, and those people have really developed and been able to complement the 2 big guys.
Is your depth has surprised you a little bit then?
I guess, yeah, I could say it has. I was hoping to get 6 players this year. I think any coach would like to have 6 solid players, but I found out that this year I have 8. I don't see anybody on the floor that we can't replace for a minute or 2 breather. We bring 3 guys off the bench and we don't miss a beat.
Besides that depth, what's impressed you most about your team so far in its first 4 games?
I think the fact that, you know, some of our concerns were handling pressure defense, and last year we had a lot of trouble with that, and we came out and Hawley really, you know, put the heat on us, and we handled it very well. Another thing would concern was coming into the year was how well we shot the ball. We know we're strong inside, and we've shot the ball real well up to this point.
How would you describe your approach to the game, your coaching approach, your approach with the kids, if you had to describe that to someone?
Oh, that's a tough question. I would say that, you know, we just I try to keep as much player involvement and getting them involved in the thinking part of the game as I can. The line of communication is wide open. They come in and talk to me, and I ask them, you know, what they feel about this type of defense we're going to play or the offense, and get their feeling. And, you know, you got to listen to them. They have a lot of good ideas, too.
You're a young man. I would imagine they feel pretty comfortable knowing that because of that line of communication is open.
Oh, yeah. That works good. I spend a lot of time at the gym after practice. I usually end up being there for an hour or 2 and finally have to turn off the lights to get a couple of them out of there, but we spend a lot of time.
Do you have any set philosophies that regardless of your talent, you know, talent changes a lot in the high school ranks, but despite those changes, do you have some set philosophies that you like to follow?
Yeah, I would say that, you know, I like to keep the game simple. I think the off-season work is really important in basketball. The skill level is super high, and we just try to keep it simple and play hard. I think, you know, when we put our heart into, we feel if we put our heart into what we do, we're going to be good at it, and I think we've been that way. We're going to give anybody a game.
Many opposing coaches feel Dilworth is one of the best teams in the area, and the problem for all locomotive opponents is the fact that they should be just as good and maybe even better the next couple years. Rob Meltzer explains why.
There's little argument that Dilworth is a talented ball club, but what makes the Locos really impressive is the fact that of the 8 top players, 6 are juniors. So that takes away some pressure to reach people's high expectations.
There really shouldn't be that much pressure because, like you say, there are going to be a lot of kids coming back, but we hope that we can go real long ways this year and give them a lot of playing time for a lot of experience next year.
We're looking at we can come back next year if we don't make it big this year. So.
Does that allow you guys to have a little more fun?
Yeah, we're trying to have fun in practices along with working hard.
We're just going out having fun, playing the best we can, and right now we're winning, and hopefully that will continue.
The amount of depth on this young ball club is formidable, and Dilworth has been able to wear down some of its opponents in the second half.
We're getting 8 people in the game constantly in each quarter, and we're getting really super hard play out of everybody, and everyone's going 100%. Different people are contributing each night, so it's not the same group of people, and we're just happy where we are.
It's one of our strengths. We have 8 people that can go in, and other teams get tired of it a lot easier.
Well, they're good basketball players, and you know, it puts some good pressure on you to play good basketball, and you just got to go out there and play as hard as you can and get your spot.
While the Locomotives aren't viewing this season as an all-or-nothing year, the 6 juniors are definitely out on a mission to give the 2 seniors a year to remember.
Yeah, we're really trying to give the seniors a good farewell and then improve so next year we'll have that much a better team.
this is the year. We've got some seniors on the team that aren't going to be with us next year, and we don't want to, start thinking about next year right now. We want to go for it, and when the season's over, we'll have some people back, and it'll be a nice thing to have.
Look for the Locos to reach their goal of a district title this season, and if they don't, this team will be doubly dangerous next year. For the Coaches Show, Rob Meltzer, KTHI News 11 Sports.
11.
World Wrestling Show with Dilworth basketball coach Kip Vossler. Kip, obviously when people take a look at your team, the first thing they see is a couple of the big guys, Kurt Michener and Joe Belka. Let's talk about Kurt a little bit. Here's a 6'7" senior. Does he add a lot of leadership to your team besides his raw abilities as a basketball player?
Definitely. Kurt's a super kid. He's the captain of the team. And Kurt would be what we refer to as a gym rat. We play Friday night. I come up to the gym to look at the elementary basketball program Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, and Kurt's right there shooting the basketball. On Sunday we have a little open gym time, and Kurt's in there. He's constantly in the gym. You have to kind of kick Kurt out of the gym if you want to go home and eat.
What would you describe as his biggest abilities as a basketball player?
Kurt is a very intelligent player, and he's really, this year especially, is starting to use that on the floor, and he's starting to enjoy himself, and he's going to be a good one. He's going to have a great year.
Does he have pretty good range? Because we see him shoot, from not only within right around the paint, but he can put it up there out of ways.
Kurt has super shooting ability for a big guy. He plays high post for us a lot, and anywhere inside that top of the circle there, Kurt has the green light. He's going to shoot it up.
And you give him that green light most of the time in your offense?
You bet, because we have, people under the boards. We'd like that.
Well, his big running mate at the forward position, a junior, Joe Belka, 6'6", 6'7", right around in there. Now, the story behind Joe is that this guy's overcome a serious injury, had a broken bone in his knee last year, missed most of last year. How has he come along in terms of his progress of recovery?
Joe has had a tough time. Went through therapy the second part of the season last year. All the way through his summer had to miss camp opportunities. Decided to actually to give up football, and we talked him into going out there and just doing some punting. And Joe is such a competitor that he just couldn't stand sitting by and watching. So by the third game of the year, he was right in there playing football, and he's worked real hard to come back. He's going to have a good year too.
Has some nice moves around the basket, doesn't he?
Joe moves really well. Joe is handles the ball as well as the guards we have. Joe helps us break the press. He go inside, outside. He can pretty much do anything he wants to.
Does his knee injury cause him some discomfort and pain even this year?
Yeah, it really does. I think he's developed some tendonitis in his knee, and he needs some therapy, and we try to give him a break whenever we can.
Is that going to cut down his minutes probably from what you'd like to see him play?
Well, I guess, we're hoping we can get ourselves in a situation where we can get him a minute or two rest a night, but a lot of that's up to Joe. I just told Joe I can't feel it, and he's got to let me know when he needs it.
Well, if Michener and Belka can't hit him from the inside, Jason Rader can really hit him from the outside. Here's a kid who's shooting way into the 50s for three-pointers.
Jason's a super shooter. I think Jason came along last year and played on the B team. In the last 3 games of the year, I pulled him up, and he became a starter. And as soon as we got into the off-season, I live right across the street from Jason, and I'd sit on my deck and watch him practice, and that's what it takes. He'd shoot the ball. He was shooting the ball, I bet, an hour a day, and his dad would come out and throw him the ball, and he'd shoot it, and that's what good shooting's all about.
See one of your most improved players from a year ago? He's obviously, it sounds like he's made a lot of progress in the last year.
Definitely. I think he's really improving his leadership ability. Jason, the position he plays for us, a point guard, we try to put some pressure on them people. They need to call the offense, recognize the defense, and he's really coming along in that area.
As you head toward the Christmas break now, you're going to be playing in the Barnesville tournament this coming week, and then you get more into your Heart of Lakes Conference schedule. What kind of things does your team have to do to keep the ball rolling?
Well, I think we just need to, we talk a lot about being mentally prepared for each game, and that's a big key. When we step on the floor, we need to be mentally prepared to do our job and just play hard. We're trying to enjoy this thing a little bit.
Have you been able to make some impressions about the rest of the district, and what are they?
Well, there's a lot of good teams, I'll tell you that right now. I think everyone's playing a little game of pointing fingers, but and having a good time with it.
Seems like it.
Rosse is a super team. We've played Holly, and I tell you what, on any night they can play with the best of them. Barnesville's playing good basketball right now, and then there's several more teams that Lake Park is playing well. I think it's wide open. I think we're later on, you know, towards the end of January, this picture might come a little clearer. But right now, I'd say there's 8 or 9 teams that can do it.
Any idea in your mind as far as what you have envisioned for that picture becoming a little clearer in late January?
Well, I'd sure like to see Dilworth be part of, you know, in the #1 spot. But, you know, we're young and we're going to learn, and I'll guarantee you we're going to play hard, and we hope we're there.
You know, we were talking during the break a little bit about your JV program. You've got a lot of talented freshmen. It looks like your program might be on the rise.
I think so. I think the 2 years, this year and next year, are very important to Dilworth basketball. I think if we can get something rolling here, that